The Energized Show, up the Irish.
Here we go.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Okay, what's going on, guys? And welcome to a brand new episode of Energized, brought to you by Or Kings Competitions. Ross.
You big dosser.
Introduce the guest, man.
Today we are being joined by Heavyweight King. It's the one and only. It's the Carty Party. It's Thomas Carty. And fittingly, he's wearing the Gypsy King hoodie. Toms, how are you getting on, bud?
Good. Never been better.
Yeah, great
Welcome
to
the
have
show.
you on. Great to have you on. I only
Thank
found
you.
out there, I think I saw an interview you did there the other day, and you actually have two fights coming up. Not only are you fighting on this card in New York, are you on the White Parker card as well?
Yeah, it seems to be. Yeah, they flew me over to the press conference. I wasn't too aware of what was going on, and then I heard then I was doing some media, some of the media obligations to do with the press day, and then I didn't know what I was allowed to say, what I wasn't allowed to say, and people were asking me am I fighting, and I said I don't know, and then they said, well, Dillian White is going around telling everybody that you're fighting on the card, so that's how I found out. Actually, yeah.
Happy days. Soon to be 12-0, Thomas Carty.
You said it.
Yeah, Thomas, tell us this. Obviously, you're fighting over Madison Square Garden. That's got to be a bucket list for yourself, is it?
Yeah, it obviously, it's the mecca of boxing. Obviously, it is. I remember saying, though, trying to be proud and protect my pride. I was like, I don't care if I never box. If I never make it outside of Dublin boxing, I'll be happy just fighting on the small circuit in Dublin. And that was just trying to protect my pride. But obviously, when you turn pro, the dreams is like Vegas, MSG, now Saudi is part of it, you know what I mean? But like it was always Vegas and MSG, isn't it? For fighters turning over.
Yeah, big time. That's where everyone wants to be. Everyone wants to be fighting in the Mecca, fighting in these big arenas. And I think one thing that really stood out to me after speaking to you after your last fight is your self-belief and your belief that, you can headline these shows and you can be the face of Irish boxing and you can be, one of the big names in the sport. Where does that self-belief come from? Is that through hard work?
It's through hard work and being around the circuit. Like I'm around long enough now to know that, like how hard it is. First of all, how good I am, and how good I could potentially be. Like I'm smart. I like to say I'm smart enough to know that if I couldn't make it at this game, I would have given up a while ago. You know what I mean? It's way too hard and there's way too many risks involved. I would have just knocked it on the head and tried something else because I don't box because I have to. I box because I'm good at it. You know what I mean? And I know how far I can push the boat out. So I suppose that's where the self-belief comes from, is that I would class myself as half intelligent, and I know for a fact that what I'm saying isn't airy-fairy. Like I know I can headline cards, and I know I can do really well out of the sport, and that's why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it because I hope to someday be decent enough. I know how good I am.
Yeah, and I suppose if you actually look at your career, both like inside and outside the ring since you turned pro, like you've had all the top heavyweights in the UK bring you over into sparring for camp. You've been on some of the biggest cards the country's ever seen, the Katie Taylor cards, you know what I mean? The Callum Walsh card, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's inevitable that you headline your own show in Dublin sometime soon. Do you feel like that's very, very imminent in like the next 3 or 4 fights?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think we could be at that stage already. It's just that time-wise, there's been other lads having cards, and it just makes sense for me to be on them. But I think we're definitely at that stage now. Like, there's plenty of good fights to be made for me, plenty of good fights that would sell out this Rio Arena. And yeah, I'm a proven massive ticket seller. You know what I mean? If I was to be headlining the card, like the Carty Party headlining the Carty Rio Arena, it's going to be a massive event. It is going to be a really, really big event. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
massive. Would it matter? Would it matter with which promotion that's under, Thomas?
No, promoting myself at this stage. Do you know what I mean? I could promote the show myself. I don't like. People are under the illusion that you need to have one of these big promoters involved. You don't really. Like it's all about ticket sales and garnering ticket sales. If you can sell the tickets and you can organize the show yourself, if you have a good team around you, you don't need anybody involved, to be completely honest.
And that's another thing. Like, very few people at 10 now will have fought on the cards you fought on, but also under the guise of, like, you fought under a UFC card 360, whatever you want to call it. You fought on Matchroom, you fought under Queensbury. You know what I mean? Like, all the promotions seem to want you. You seem to be such a commodity to have. Do you feel that when you get asked to fight in these shows? Do you feel that all these top people want you on their cards?
Yeah, well, it makes sense. The Great White Hope, big white Irish heavyweight. You know what I mean? It's a rarity rather than something that's common. You know what I mean? And it's definitely a good addition to have to any card, rather than there's another Irish white heavyweight. You know what I mean? It's definitely a rarity.
Definitely, and I suppose with heavyweight, like there seems to almost be like the passing of a guard coming very imminently soon. Like obviously, like Tyson Fury doesn't have many fights left. I think Usyk saying he has 2 fights left. Anthony Joshua probably doesn't have a lot of fights left. There seems to be a few guys who are on the cusp of retirement, and it seems to be young up and comers like yourself who are coming up to look to take over. Do you feel that's the sort of talk around the heavyweight scene?
Yeah, like the guys that we all know, the regulars, I suppose, that we see on our screens, they're all coming towards the twilight, and they are towards the end of their careers, and there is a new kind of cast of heavyweights coming through, and I think I'm more than capable of being one of those heavyweights. There is going to be a couple of us that are going to, the cream always rises to the top. I think I've had 10 fights. I'm in the top 50 in the world out of 1,500 heavyweights. Soon to be after this fight, these next 2 fights, hopefully up in the top 20, and then it's rolling the dice every time. Then it's whoever's best on their day. Then.
And is there any of them that you look at being like, I'd love to catch him before he goes?
All of them. All of them, yeah.
All of them are a big payday as well, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why this game, you have to be in it. You have to want to fight. You know what I mean? There's a lot of fake fighters out there. I'm fortunate enough that I can honestly say I'm not a fake fighter. I'm in it to fight. Like I want to fight these guys. Yeah, absolutely. So, but realistically, like it's a lose-lose for them. They're not going to fight some young, hungry, heavyweight on the come up. On the come up, they want to be catching the other fellas who are twilighting on their careers. Like I'm old and spent and nearly finished. I want to fight someone who's also old, spent, and nearly finished.
Yeah, I get you. It would be a high risk, little reward fighting someone.
100%, 100%. You need to understand the business of boxing to understand that. There's no Rocky story around here. AJ doesn't flick through a catalogue and say, right, I'm going to give number 250 a chance. And it doesn't go like that. You know what I mean?
No, of course not. But I suppose, someone like AJ might hang around slightly longer. I feel like Fury and Usyk look like they only have 1 or 2 left in the tank.
You don't know. It's mad at that end. You don't know.
Yeah, big time. But look, like it's great that like you're starting to enter yourself into those conversations, and you're on the cusp of that. You know what I mean? And like you say, win these next 2 fights, and like you'll be right up there. I suppose we'll look directly ahead of you. What do you make of Galloway as an opponent? Obviously, he's a big guy. We're talking off camera there. He's over 400 pounds. He's weighed in before. Like what do you make of fighting someone this big?
Haven't thought about it. He's big. It is what it is. I'm at the level and at the stage of my career where if I'm not putting these guys away, regardless, if I'm not putting them away, I should probably look at a different career. Do you know what I mean? So I haven't given it too much thought. I'm turning up March 16th, going to do a job regardless, whether he's £1 million or whether he's £10 soaking wet. It's all the one to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, £1 million.
Yeah.
And with that as well, like obviously, this is coming off the back of fighting on the last Colin Walsh card. You know what I mean? Obviously, Dana's took a shine to you, and God, every promoter on the sun's taking a shine to you, Thomas. Yeah. But with that, is that cool to fight sort of in front of a semi-new audience as well? Like, there's obviously a lot of UFC fans will watch that and then become fans of Thomas Carty, as opposed to if you're on a Matchroom card or a Kingsbury card, like they're going to be boxing fans and you know what they're going to get. You'll still pick a few extra, but like you're sort of fighting in another semi-different audience.
Yeah, it's great. Like, new eyes is fantastic. Any new eyes I can get on me is great because I believe I'm exciting enough for people to say, oh, well, I'd like to see him again. That's what I try and provide when people come see me fight. I want them to be, I suppose, satisfied that they said they made the right decision to come see me fight. You know what I mean? And say, I'd like to see him again. Provide entertainment and provide value. And, new eyes is great because hopefully they tune in to my next fight then going forward and are a fan for life.
Yeah, after your last win in the Tree Arena, Thomas, like Tom Loeffler came into the back and so did Dane, and they're saying obviously how good Callum was, but they kept saying your name as well. Like when you were hearing that, were you surprised, or like you just, is that another day in the life of Thomas Carty?
Without being big-headed, it's just another day in the life. I've had a whole career of all these high-profile people tell me how good I can be, how good I am, and how good I could potentially be. And I was just, I suppose, it was more of a satisfied feeling that I got to show a glimpse, fraction of what I can actually do. Do you know what I mean? Because your man who I fought in the training was no slouch. He's only actually ever been beaten once, and the number one heavyweight from Argentina. And you know, he wasn't flying all the way across the world to lie down. He had a go. Do you know what I mean? But it was good, a good performance and entertaining. Knocked down a couple of times, grabbed me. Apparently, Dana White loved the fact that he grabbed me and I just threw him on the deck because he wouldn't let go holding. So showing my MMA skills that I've learned over the last while. So it was good.
Who you give the credit there? John Connor or Kiefer Crosby?
John Kiefer. No, to be honest, I'll give it to Carl Moore. I did more grappling with Carl Moore than anybody else. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Is that when you were over there with Johnny Walker?
Yeah, I did a bit of MMA sparring. Carl just sat on top of me, to be honest.
Fair enough. But look, you couldn't hold a torch in the boxing ring, and we'll keep it at that.
100%. You said it.
Yeah. But no, it was great to see. It was lovely for the Irish fans to hear someone like Dana White, because like at the end of the day, he's probably the biggest voice in the promoter world, whether it be in all combat sports, sing your praise. So
yeah. It was cool to hear Dana. It was cool to hear Dana be impressed, and it was cool to hear Dana say, you know, I'm going to get him to America, New York or Vegas or Boston. I forget what exactly it was that he said, but fair play to him, true to his word, you know. Yeah.
Absolutely. And look, these opportunities just keep on come knocking for you. I suppose, like, you're getting all these opportunities inside boxing, and I've heard you speak about, like, you know, if you weren't a boxer, what would you be? And all your family are tradespeople, and you know, you couldn't hammer a nail into a wall type thing.
No.
But like, do you feel like, obviously you have a Thirst, which is your own electrolyte company, but do you feel like the outside boxing opportunities are starting to creep in that little bit more?
Yeah, 100%. I think I've presented myself as someone who could be an asset, and it was fairly well screwed on. I'm by no means a brain surgeon, but I'm definitely not the other end of the spectrum either. Do you know what I mean? So there is opportunities find their way towards me, and I've been fortunate enough to capitalize on a good few of them. Yeah, like Thirst, one of the companies that I'm involved in actually at the moment. Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about Thirst and how that came about?
Really cool story, actually. Obviously, I'm not that much of a drinker, and I live a fairly clean lifestyle. Well, I tried to live a fairly clean lifestyle, and one of the things that I developed a liking for was actually saunas. But what I've realized then was that I actually sweat an awful lot more than your average person, being bigger or whatever. So somebody introduced me to electrolytes a long time ago, and then eventually, like I always do, I become obsessed with things that I like. So I tried them all, found out which worked for me, which I preferred. Ended up getting really, really fond of a company from America, and was buying so much from the States that I ended up reaching out. I was tagging them so much that they reached out and wanted to sponsor me. And they were sponsoring me for about 6 months to a year, the first year of my pro career. And then they had sent me an email saying that they're pulling out of the Irish market and the EU market. And I just had an idea pondering in my head. I said, I'd love to recreate my own, make my own electrolyte for my own consumption, not to sell, but for make what I wanted in the sachet, I suppose, for myself to use. And I had so many close calls not to do it. I met the wrong people, and presented to the wrong people, and I didn't really know what way to go about it. I didn't have much business acumen, although I thought I was smart. I didn't have much acumen to it, and there was a lot more to it than I thought. And I just found the right person in Lar Murray. I found the right business partner, and the rest is history. He's responsible for the branding, the flavour, the taste. It was my idea in the beginning, and Lar really elevated it. Yeah.
Unbelievable. And like, look, it's going well. Like,
there's a lot more to it than that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, of course.
There's a lot more dead ends to it than that.
I'm sure it will be its own podcast one day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd love to explain it properly one day, because it's actually a really, really interesting story. It's really, really cool story. But that's it in a nutshell.
And did you say it's one of a few? Do you have a few other business ventures on the way as well? Or
Yeah. I've a couple on the way. I've one actually fairly imminent. I've one launching. It should have been launched on Saturday. I think it's launching this Thursday. That'd be an interesting one.
Oh, do you want to give us an exclusive on what it is?
It's going to be the number one combat sports equipment brand in the country.
Oh, happy days. And do we have a name for it?
Hook Boxing, it's called. Hook Boxing.
Oh.
The logo is really cool. There's an awful lot of research and development gone into this one, because I've developed a couple of business skills, I suppose, from being involved in Thirst. So that one's launching Thursday, and that's this one is going to be fairly good. I've learned an awful lot of lessons, and I can recognize a gap. I suppose recognize a good gap in the market, and the hook boxing is going to be huge.
Yeah, and with that being
Congrats.
said as well, like I suppose in terms of like your own marketing and your own brand, you're fast becoming like the most known boxer in the country. I suppose like as we touched on, people come towards the tail end of their career. Like Katie Taylor is at the tail end of her career, and if you look past Katie Taylor, I think the next name down, like who people are seeing as like the next world champion, is Thomas Carty, and like I think that's just the way things are looked at the moment. And I think, you know, starting these businesses now, you'll see them grow alongside your career, and I think it's just a really smart way to go. So fair play to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was talking to a business guy about a year ago, and I asked him what's the best business advice you can give me for tourists. In the beginning, the electrolytes, it was going really well, but we were also going nowhere at the same time. Like it was just kind of tipping along. We're huge now. Like I didn't expect to be this big, but he said the best business advice I can give you is just for you to become world champion, and the rest follows. And I suppose since then it never left my mind. So number one for me is boxing. That's my bread and butter. That's what's got me to this stage. So you know, I've been doubling down on my strengths and spending as much time as I can on this. I don't actually spend too much time on these businesses. I'm just involved and give my input, and try my best to promote it as well as I can, because I have great contacts, and contacts in themselves are worth an awful lot. So that's something that I can do that, you know, somebody who's great at business probably can't, is networking and my contacts.
Yeah, what's called, we do see you hanging around with a lot of sort of top other sports stars as well, which is cool to see. And like we touched on, like, you're a likable guy. People want you to succeed, so they want to help you get there. So look,
Appreciate that. Thank you.
We think it's incredible to see, and like I think it would absolutely be cool as hell to have an Irish heavyweight boxer, like, you know, in the top of the world, competing for those world titles, and like that's the trajectory you're on. So long may that last.
Yeah. Also, Tom, in the build up to, like, I know you're working with JC and doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Will there be like any documentaries we can see that's included with the business, and also the fighting coming anytime soon?
Yeah, there's a lot going on at the moment. It's hard to say what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say. There's an awful lot going on at the moment. I will be doing something massive with TG Carr, speaking Irish. That is something that's going to be a really, really interesting one for people to see. That we're in the process of just finalising dates for what we actually want to put in it and what we don't. But there will be an Irish speaking documentary coming that's going to document everything in my life, which I think would be really cool. There's just some other bits ongoing at the moment, kind of halfway through, but definitely something I can talk about is the TG Carr one. I think it's going to be massive. There's a big revival on speaking Irish at the moment, and I'm trying my best. I'm delighted to say I'm involved, and I'm trying my best to be on the forefront.
Yeah, we can see within the ISI that you're really having that. Like, we see Max Rally is a couple of focal every day.
It's great.
Ryan Curtis
it's great.
is a couple of focal. You know,
it's great, man. It's so cool because when I was growing up and I was in school, primary and secondary school through Irish, like it's that mentality. If you're told you have to do something, you don't want that, and it wasn't cool. And I used to think, what a waste of time doing Irish. And now that I've left school, I've realized what an idiot. It's an absolute privilege to be able to speak your native language, and less than 80,000 people on this island can speak Irish fluently. You know what I mean? It's something that I think is very, very dear and important to me, and I'm delighted that it's come back to me and I'm using it again, and people are finding it cool.
Yeah, and we even saw at the post-fight press conference answer questions in Irish, which we haven't seen that done in a very long time as well. So that was really cool.
My mate was there from TG Carr. Carty was there, and he was answering, and I was so happy he was there, because it deserves to be mainstream, and especially if somebody can't speak it, you know what I mean? We need to bang the drum as loud as we can for people that can't speak it and that can promote it and make it cool again. Because for a while it died because people are just not bothered with it, and they're like, oh, what do you need Irish for? You need Irish because we're Irish people. It's our native language. We should all want to speak it.
Yeah, I agree. Even with the Irish football team, Liam Scales, who plays for Celtic, was the only person to do an interview in Irish, and God knows how long.
Yeah,
but it's brilliant to see. Like, what's even going on in the combat scene. Obviously, myself and Ross mainly cover the mixed martial arts, but like we are fans of boxing as well. But like, this is what we really enjoy about the Irish combat sports scene, because there's people like yourself, like, doing your thing in the boxing. There's obviously loads of other people. Like, we just had Sean O'Bannon on last week, and even the week before we had Ryan Curtis. Like, all these people, there's so many different personalities and they're all like writing their own stories, and that's why it's so exciting, like to be a combat sports fan in Ireland right now, isn't it, Ross?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think, yeah, you just personally, Thomas, I feel like you bring such a uniqueness. You know what I mean? I feel like, being a Gael Gore, being an Irish heavyweight, you know what I mean? Like, you're someone that everyone can get behind, and you have that likability factor. You really do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not just saying that because you're standing here or you're sitting here down with us either. Like, you really do. Like, everyone has a lot of kind words to say about you. So, like, I feel like you're doing a great job not only promoting Irish boxing, but like just the Irish culture as well, which is like,
appreciate that, man. Thank you. I do try my best because I realize how influential at this stage of my career, how influential it can be on the young lads and that. And I've an awful lot of young lads reach out to me, and it's a common thing that young lads are looking up to me right now. Do you know what I mean? I once was that young lad looking up to the likes of Kenny Egan and other Irish athletes, you know what I mean, and saying I want to be like them when I'm at that stage now. I do recognise that I'm at that stage, and there is kids looking up to me. So to try my best to put your best foot forward, I suppose, and lead by example.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why you can't miss Thomas Carty fight on Sunday the 16th in MSG live on UFC Fight Pass. Thomas, is there anything else you want to say to the Carty party? They're going to be tuning in and watching you compete.
No, just thanks as always. You know what I mean? We have a big crew going over to New York. We've about probably 170, 180 people flying, which is massive. I have a lot of family coming from Boston. There's a lot of people going to be there anyways. I'm looking forward to it, one for the history books. The last time we had a big away trip was Nottingham. I fought all over the UK, but Nottingham, when I fought in the undercard of Michael Conlon and Lee Wood, and some of the lads are still talking about that trip. Do you know what I mean? So this is the first time we have everybody out of the city again, out of Dublin, all bailing into America. Whoever can get in, a lot of them can't, but whoever can get in is going. We're going to America, and we're going to have a great time, man. This is going to be one for the history books, genuinely. I know that's cliche, one for the books and stuff like that, but fighting MSG, Carty party on the Sunday, next day, Paddy's Day, it's a recipe for absolute carnage.
Oh no, it actually will.
It really is. It really is.
New York won't know what it's hitting. They haven't seen a party like a Carty party.
No. There's a pub. We're after doing a deal with a pub. He's going to host us for the week, but I don't think he knows what he's had to get himself in for.
It's not the lights. It's going to be insane. Thomas, one thing I did want to ask before you go. Obviously, there was a controversial stoppage over the weekend. Donovan versus Crocker. Did you see it? What do you make of the fight and the stoppage?
So my opinion on what happened Saturday night is I was ringside. I was there. I watched it. It was a great fight. I love both lads, and I'm just happy that both of them are safe. I know Lewis has a bit of a banged up face, but as far as I'm aware, he's safe, and that's all I have to say about it. To be honest, I'm just glad that both of them are safe. And controversy is good. Everybody's talking about it. Get the rematch on. Two of them are safe, and that's all that matters. That is realistically, that's all that matters. So. That's my opinion on it.
And one follow-up question on that's totally irrelevant to their fight is someone who we'd love to see in the ring with. You had a bit of a shake hand and hello to Johnny Fisher there. That's a fight that people have been talking about. What was the exchange like there? All friendly, and do you think we'll see that fight happen?
That was his chance to say something. I've been calling him out, that was his chance to say something. I don't even know what he said. I genuinely don't know what he said. It was a little bit of nervous energy, I think, and he swiftly carried on to his seat. Then that was his chance. So it's a fight I'd like to happen myself, but we'll see. Time shall tell.
Did the Romford Bull turn into a Romford Mouse?
Romford Calf.
I love. You know what? Before we started talking in this chat, I actually wanted to ask you those two questions, but then we were just having a good flow. So I was like, yeah. So
I knew eventually it's going to come up. The clickbait is coming, but yeah, absolutely. Come here. The fight has to happen. Simple as that. Fight has to happen. Ball's in his court. Everybody knows from my side I want it. So.
Yeah, and we want it as well. We think it's the biggest profile British boxer on the way up and the biggest profile Irish boxer on the way up. It makes absolute bucket loads of sense.
Yeah, of course. I'll go anywhere. I'll fight him in Romford. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'll fight him in Romford, no problem.
Because you don't have to worry about the judges.
that one's not going to the judges. That's a fact.
Yeah.
I wouldn't leave a fight like that in their hands. No way, man. Yeah. Not after what happened in Saudi.
Yeah. absolutely.
Not a chance.
Yeah, but what's called
I'd be turning the screw. I'd be turning the screw in the first round, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thomas, just a very last thing for myself as well. Which is the favorite flavor of thirst for yourself and for the majority of people?
Like without a shadow of a doubt, I think we've sold. It's coming up on 750,000 sticks in a year. I think the mixed berry one is definitely most popular, but there's a new flavor coming. It's landed very, very soon. We're waiting for a little bit of a run of good weather to release it. It's a summer flavor, so that the next one is going to be a banger.
Okay.
Do you have a release date for how we know when we can run to our
release
shop and get one?
Release date. So we're finalising just some photography on it next Thursday. I'm fighting next Sunday, so probably the week after my fight.
Fair. Like you can send me the text afterwards when you need me to show up to do the modeling.
Have you nice hands? I need a hand model.
Lovely hands. Love that.
Nah, they're way too big, man. They're way too big.
Jeez, you're the first one never tell me my hands are big.
Thomas, we have to thank you very much for your time, bud. And best of skill on the 16th, and we'll let you get on with the rest of your day.
100%, lads. Pleasure.
The Energized Show, up the Irish.
So Ross, that was Thomas Carty.
Yeah, absolutely buzzing for that guy. To be honest,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a great night. I'm buzzing for Callum Walsh as well. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Oh, actually, and Emma Brennan's taking on Kevin Crone
as well. Yeah. It's like they took the very best bits of that 3 Arena card and just brought it over to New York.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see it because both those guys will be looking to put a stamp on the match or the fight they had last time, Crone and Brennan.
Yeah, and that last event was actually savage as well. That was a great night.
Really good.
Yeah. So like for the people tuning in, like hopefully you enjoy that. Obviously, most of the time we have mixed martial artists on, but like when a big boxing event is going down and it's in Madison Square Garden, promoted by UFC Fight Pass, we have to get some of the fighters on because that's what we like doing. And also it's the Energized Show, so you never know what's happening each week, Ross, do you?
You never do. And as they say, no Carty, no party.
No party, baby. So if you are new to the Energized Show, make sure to like and subscribe because we are here every week. Ross, we're going to have to stick with the boxing before we go into the world of mixed martial arts. You touched on it there with Thomas. Crocker defeated Donovan over the weekend by DQ. What did you make of the fight itself and what did you make of the decision?
Well, look, I thought Paddy Donovan was like on the road to at least a decision win, if not a finish prior to the DQ. I thought Paddy Donovan boxed really, really well. I feel like he was just outworking Crocker. I felt like he was the more aggressive of the two. I thought he was going to win. And then obviously that big right hand came after the bell and he got DQ'd. A lot of people saying like it was a bad call by the ref. I feel like the ref has to play by the rules, not by what the fans would like to see. And I felt like the DQ was just. I know Donovan's team is going to appeal the decision. I don't think they will get the decision appealed because you can clearly see the shot landed after the bell, and almost going to say a second after the bell. But just disappointing. That's how the fight ended. But also, this builds massively into a rematch. Like this is the fight that they have to do next. This is going to be a big money fight. They can do it in the SSE arena again, and I think this is the fight that all the fans will want to see.
Yeah, I thought in the lead up to the fight, it sort of went a bit quiet, and then on fight week, the promotion videos came out were absolutely epic. Now, like the way Matchroom did it, I thought was absolutely brilliant. Like I thought the fans were great as well. The fight itself, I thought Donovan was really like shown that he was levels above.
Yeah.
And then the way Crocker went down, I just thought he was defeated. Look, I agree that the shot was after the bell. Now, people blamed the ref for not jumping in, but like it was after the bell. Like, I mean,
also like,
threw the punch.
Also,
I mean,
Donovan was showing multiple shots. Like if the ref jumps in like right in the middle of them as that flurry is being poured on, he's going to get knocked out himself. You know what I mean? So I think, very few people have refed a boxing fight. So, like, I mean, I don't think the ref did a terrible job. I know they were saying that the ref did a terrible job throughout the fight. Look, I'm not going to dispute that or really touch on that too much because, again, like, I'm more of a casual boxing fan. I can give my opinion who I think is winning, but when it comes to like the letter of the law and the rule sets, like, I'm not 100% confident that what I would say is correct on it. So, people are saying, the ref wasn't great. That's fair enough, but I think the DQ was a shot clearly landed after the bell, and it seemed to stop Crocker, and that was it. So, look, the rematch should be massive. I think that's what people want to see. I feel like that's the biggest domestic scrap that we can have in this country right now, and let's have it again.
Yeah, I'm up for watching that again, definitely. Then Ross, there was a huge press conference went on over last week. It was Chris Eubanks Jr. against Conor Benn. This is known as Egggate. Chris Eubanks Jr. cracked an egg over Conor Benn's head. When you saw this, like, what did you make of it? And would you like to see more or less of it in the game?
Oh, when I saw this, like, my brain was absolutely scrambled. I thought it was an absolute excellent press conference. It was, look, again, this is going to have, the likes of Ben Shalom and Eddie Hearn licking their lips. This is going to be big pay-per-view. This is going to be big fight. The bad blood is brewing between these two. Look, let's call it spade a spade. Like, it's totally wrong, totally unprofessional what Chris Eubanks Jr. has done. And I feel like Conor Benn is sort of... I feel like for the first time in a long time, I feel like it's the bad guy versus the bad guy. I feel like both are sort of their own villains in the build of this fight. Neither is the good guy. I feel like Ben is the bad guy from... Well, I feel like he gives off, like, he's always going to be the harder of the hard man out of whoever he fights. But also, like, after the failed drug test or whatever way you want to call that, I know they've done tests since and said, like, what's the word he used? Basically said it didn't count or whatever, or it was disproven or whatever he said.
Overturned.
Yeah, overturned. Yeah. He wouldn't use the words he was clean or something like that, or he said he was clean now or something like that. It was a real, like, gray area answer. But he's obviously a bad guy because of that failed drug test. And then Eubank Jr. just by, like, his carry-on seems to be a bad guy as well. So I feel like we have bad guy versus bad guy. And I think bad guy versus bad guy sells a lot better than good guy versus good guy.
See, that's the thing. I don't want to be promoting people going around egging people, right? Have you ever got egged?
I've definitely had an egg thrown at me, but
No,
I don't think I've ever been, like, hit with an egg.
No, I was hit with an egg before, man. It's not a good buzz. But the thing is,
like, actually, you know what? I was actually hit by an egg before, and like, it's cause, like, you get hit by an egg, and someone's driving by it that, like, you have no, like, return. If that makes sense. Like, you can't do anything to get them back. Like, you're just like,
what a shot. You're
yeah,
like that.
Yeah,
guy.
I suppose that phrase, like, left with egg on your face, is like is a real thing.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't want to be like being like, yeah, everyone should do this to get loads of people tune into their fights, but it worked, and like both guys are going to get paid more for it now. So
apparently he had 8 eggs in his pocket.
Only 8.
Yeah, I was like, why would you bring that many? Because apparently he's saying that 1 or 2 like burst in his pocket. I was like, fuck, man.
Well, can you buy? What, in England do they sell packs of 8 eggs? Do they?
Maybe there's pack of 12. You had 4 for breakfast, and then just right in the pocket.
Practicing at home, cracking the eggs.
Yeah. Oh, I was looking for free range as well.
Were they chicken eggs or turkey eggs? Oh my god, man! Oh, can't wait for that fight. Also, Aaron McKenna from Monaghan is going to be fighting Liam Smith. Liam Smith, sorry, man. So many names you have to remember in this game. So look, that's going to be very interesting. Can't wait for that card as well. That's going to be going down in April. And then Ross, this Friday, Tyrone McKenna is fighting Chris Eubank Jr.'s cousin, Eubank, in Brighton in the main event. That make sure to tune in on Friday and watch that, because also Mick Conlon is making a world title run, his final one, he says, on that card as well. Ross, you looking forward to this event?
Yeah, big time. I think look,
Friday night.
Tyrone McKenna is someone who brings a lot of boys to it, and obviously fighting Chris Eubank's cousin Harlem Eubank. I think that makes it a bit more interesting. I feel like two well-known fighters fighting each other with Mike Conlan as supporting cast. Like, it doesn't really get much better than that for Irish boxing fans to have reason to tune in to fights in Brighton.
There we go. Friday night. So, Ross, before we get into the worlds of mixed martial arts, there was a big announcement in Belfast as well that Paul Hughes will be headlining PFL Belfast on the 10th of May. Ross, who would you like to see Paul Hughes fight next?
For me, I think there's two really good options, and I've seen no one on the internet say them. So the first really good option, I think, is Stevie Ray from Scotland. I think that will be a big sort of domestic clash between, our Celtic brothers over in Scotland. So Stephen Ray. And then here's one that I think will be a really exciting fight. Big news, Paul Hughes versus Shane Burgos. So Shane Burgos, I think last year, was in a PFL Fight of the Year contender against Clay Collard. Neither of those two, Stephen Ray or Shane Burgos, are in the World Tournament. Neither is Paul Hughes. I think they're the two best options. Dan Hardy's an Energized follower. I think there are ones that maybe could happen. Maybe we'll do a post about it and see what the fans think, Basma. What do you think?
Yeah, I just can't see Usman or Magomedov knocking around Belfast like that.
I think that's already like off the table for May, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think Paul Hughes wins this one, and then sometime from September to November, I think we see Paul Hughes back out fighting Usman or Magomedov in a rematch.
Yeah, I think they have Dubai booked again for like September.
Yeah, I was going to just say, like, it would either be Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Riyadh, one of those places, somewhere in the Middle East.
Yeah, well, that was the big news. So maybe that should be a poll, Ross, that needs to go out.
Yeah.
There is a lot of Irish athletes competing this weekend, but we have to start off with UFC 313, Ross, going down this weekend. It's being headlined by Alex Pereira taking on Magomed Ankalaev. Ross, what do you make of this fight for the UFC light heavyweight title?
I think this will be Alex Pereira's toughest test since capturing the belt. I think Ankalaev might even be a betting favorite going into this one. He is skilled both in grappling and on the feet. I think people view him as Alex Pereira's kryptonite. That seems to be the consensus going into this fight. But it's very hard to doubt Poatan at this stage. It's very hard to, pick against him. He's looked unstoppable in his last couple of fights. And again, he's come to save the day for the UFC on a card that badly needs him, and massive star power that he does have.
Yeah, this year I thought that Magomed would become the UFC champion, but I'm like a massive fan of Alex Pereira. I just don't want to pick against him from Magomed Ankalaev, who like does nothing for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, he did throw all his toys out of the pram when him versus Jan Blachowicz was considered a draw. So
yeah, but this weekend I'm like, right, can't wait to see Alex Pereira fight. I'm not like, oh, bring on Magomed Ankalaev, buzzing for that one, lads.
Well, one thing that you might be buzzing for is a fight that we saw live. Justin Gaethje is rematching against Rafael Fiziev in the co-main event. What you make this one? We were there in the O2 for the first one. How do you see Justin Gaethje getting on this time out?
Very good question. Okay, I haven't rewatched the fight, but last time when we were in the arena, I actually thought Fiziev won. I know you thought Gaethje won, so that was interesting. This time around, yeah. Okay, the thing is with Justin Gaethje now, ever since he got absolutely KO'd by Max Holloway at UFC 300, how good is his chin now? Like that is the question. Like Fiziev, I feel like sort of his career was going he was getting more and more notoriety until he lost to Gaethje and sort of dipped off ever since. So maybe this is the one where he's trying to right that wrong. Now he is taking on short notice because it was meant to be Hooker against Gaethje, and I feel like both of them guys have the same sort of wear and tear in their bodies. So very interesting question, Ross. I think on this one I cannot pick a winner, and that's why I'm more excited for this fight than I am for the main event.
So you're just not going to pick? Is that your?
I'm gonna go DQ for Gaethje. No, I'm gonna go Gaethje.
We haven't seen Fiziev since 2023. So,
and was that Gaethje last time?
No, he got a knee injury against Gamrot.
Okay.
In the fight, like so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I hadn't heard his name in a
while. Also, he's taking the fight on short notice as well, and Gaethje's had a full camp, so it should favor Gaethje.
Yeah, that's why I'm going Gaethje. DQ.
Fair.
Yeah. I was looking at the card, Ross. The card doesn't really blow anyone away, really. Just over the weekend, Manel Cape won as well, and
Cape.
Yeah, Ross, UFC 313 this weekend. Is there any other MMA news in the UFC that like sort of hit? I know last week we were talking about like Michael Chandler and Paddy Pimblett fighting each other.
I think we touched on it with Paul Hughes, the PFL announcing their return to Belfast. So I think that's something definitely to look forward to. But I suppose like we do have some big cards coming up on the Irish scene. Maybe we'll start off with a man that we interviewed recently enough. I don't know, maybe Baz drop it in at the end of this interview. But we spoke to Will Fleury. He's looking to become champ on Octagon. So that's going down this weekend. And also on that card, we have Dennis Frimpong, the man who we also interviewed recently enough on the show. So 2 interviews, definitely go back and watch if you haven't seen them before. 2 totally different from each other, but unique characters in their own right. Do you think Will's going to get the job done come this weekend, Basmo?
Yeah. I'm not just saying that. I'm actually convinced he's going to do it. He's on a great roll at the moment. It is for the vacant title, so like I don't see your man as the champ. I know the champion had to vacate. Will was saying he's not taking this fight lightly, but I think Will is on a great roll right now, and he's could be the face of Octagon once he captures a second world title with them, which is mad because like this is sort of new for Irish fighters to be going into Octagon, and all of a sudden Will Fleury is the soon-to-be face of the organization.
Yeah, absolutely, and I agree with you, Baz. I think he will get the job done. I'm not just saying that because he's the Irish guy. I feel like he's shit hot right now. I feel like his confidence is at an all-time high, and I think that, as I say, a happy fighter is a dangerous fighter, and Will Fleury looks very, very happy at the moment. I expect him to get the job done.
Yeah, so we'll be covering that on Saturday. So make sure to keep your eyes on the Energized Instagram page. Ross, Cage Warriors is also going down this weekend, but some big fights were announced for the Irish fighters at Cage Warriors Dublin. Before we get into the Cage Warriors Rome card, because there is an Irish fighter on the card, what you make of the announcements that have come out in the last week for Cage Warriors Dublin?
Yeah, I think the announcements have been great. Obviously, we've seen Jamie Abbott-Bissett added to the card. We've seen Kenny Mokunawana versus Matthew Elliott. And we've seen Kikyo versus Joe Doyle. So, like, I think really good fights added to the card. Obviously, Conor McCarthy, Ger Harris, and Max Lally are still to be added to the card. And then, obviously, we have, welterweight champion James Sheen, Solomon Simon, Paddy McCurry, Emer Darcy, I'm trying to
Darby.
think who else. Adam Darby, Alex O'Sullivan, Dart Huntman on the card. Like the card is absolutely stacked. Many more to come. Ryan Shelley on the card as well. Let's not forget that. So
no problem. Yeah.
Do you not get put against someone? No, I think he did. I just don't think, for whatever reason, I don't think it's on the website. But Ryan Shelley is definitely. I'm trying to think who he's fighting here. But Ryan Shelley will be on that card as well, so great to see both Shelley's out in action. He's fighting Albert Diaz. That's who he's
that was
fighting.
out.
Yeah, it is indeed.
Okay,
so
that's probably my bad then. Typical, man.
Well, you know what? You're going by the website. It's not on the website. It's only on the Instagram.
Okay,
so
interesting. But then,
website guys sorted out.
Website guys, yeah. So Ross, Cage Warriors Dublin. That's going to be a huge night in the RDS.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the biggest night Cage Warriors done in years over here, and obviously with James Sheehan headline defending his title as well. Who knows? A win there could send him UFC bound.
Exactly, yeah. That's actually 7 weeks away, but who's counting? But this weekend, Cage Warriors is back. First event of the year. Cage Warriors 183 Rome. There is 2 title fights on the card, but for Irish MMA fans, the most important thing is Team KS. Adam Shelley is on the card. Ross, Adam Shelley is going to be Ireland's first fighter to compete on Cage Warriors this year. How excited are you to see the Shellier don the yellow gloves?
Yeah, absolutely. Adam Shelley, the Tornado. What a fighter. Really looking forward to seeing him out there. Like, this guy is the epitome of a martial artist. He, coaches in Whitehall martial arts. He trains out of Team KF. He works for Dublin Fire Brigade at the airport. Like, he's an all-round stand-up guy, and his stand-up's not bad either. Hails from Whitehall, top of the range fella, and look, I think he has the skills to get the job done. So hopefully we see the best version of Adam Shelley come this weekend in Rome, and I hope he gets a lovely pizza and a Moretti afterwards.
Where's Peroni?
We'll let him have pasta as well if he wants.
Where's Peroni from? Is that Italian?
That's Italian as well, actually.
What do you prefer, Moretti or Peroni?
I actually prefer Peroni, to be honest.
I think Peroni out of a bottle.
Yeah.
Moretti out of a
draft.
I think they might give you more. Yeah, I think it's more of a glass they give you rather than.
Well, funny enough, because Moretti's actually made by Heineken. If you don't know, now you know.
Now you know. And then Ross, one of the names that went under the radar in the Irish MMA scene for a while is back this weekend at Rage UK in Swindon. Dylan Logan is competing for the lightweight title on the promotion. Ross, are you happy to see Dylan Logan back?
Absolutely. Dylan's been out for a while. He's gone back to his roots. He's a Kildare man. He's fighting out of Kildare martial arts. I know we posted there recently that about his title fight. He's had a change in opponent and stuff like that. I haven't seen many other media members give Dylan Logan the shine, so I hope he puts on a massive performance and has a few of them talking about him after the fight anyway, because he's a man who's definitely earned his dues in the sport. He's been around for a long time, and he probably deserves a bit more coverage than he's getting, I think.
There you go, Ross. So, speaking of pullouts, Cage Conflict goes down this Saturday as well. All Irish eyes will be definitely tuning in after Cage Warriors and Octagon. They'll be and Rage UK. They'll be straight to Cage Conflict, Ross.
Absolutely. Look,
and then, sorry,
the guys have put on a phenomenal card. They really have. I know there's been a few pullouts, and we'll speak about that now. But yeah, the lads really have outdone themselves. The main event was supposed to be Brian Manning versus Sean McCormack, but it looks like Sean McCormack is out now. So hopefully the Lamb will get to compete on the show come this weekend. There is another middleweight professional fight on the card. We have Graham Sheen from Team Rhino is fighting against Jakamowicz. Is that how you say it, from FAI? Well, you're not going to try and pronounce better after that. Let me butcher it. So, yeah, there's obviously that's going to be a big card as well. So, Cage Conflict is doing the damn thing. And then also Valentino versus Nadine Abbott-Bissett is also on the card as a pro Adam White fight. So, we'll have at least 2, but we're still hoping to get a third professional fight on that card. Unfortunately, Osane Jones was supposed to fight Cormac McLaughlin, but Jones pulled out of the fight. Yeah. So, look, we'll have 2, hopefully 3 professional fights on the card. Modern Warfare goes down from the Devonish on the 8th of March, as Barry said. But there are some good amateur fights on the card as well. Massive fan of Jason Sreenan versus Omas Oliver. These are 2 of the best bantamweights in the country. Mas Oliver, I think, I could be wrong, but I think he's the defending champion. And Sreenan fights out of Danny Core's gym. I think he's 6-1. So like that's a really, really high level. You know, they're two of the best bantamweights we have in the country. Dominic Rhodes fighting Blaine McGill. That's an unbelievable fight for the super lightweight title. Big fans of both guys, so that should be an absolute banger. We also have Cronley versus Shields for the featherweight belt. Michael Shields, the Energized Show Amateur Fighter of the Year 2024. That's going to be an absolute banger.
As voted for by the fans?
As voted for by the fans.
For the fans.
We have Leach versus Johnson for the amateur middleweight belt. Pretty sure Johnson's on the absolute verge of turning pro. So that should be an absolute whopper fight. And finally, we'll get to see Shea Cleveland fight. And he's taking on Walsh for the flyweight title. So absolute Gansy load of amateur title fights. Couple of pro fights at the top of the bill. An unbelievable show. Make sure to get your tickets if you are in the Belfast region or you have a teammate who's fighting on the card. But also make sure to buy the pay-per-view link. It's going to be an absolute whopper show. Pat and Liam do an excellent job running Cage Conflict. It's one of the best run shows in the country, and it's one of the best shows to fight on the country. No doubt about it. Cage Conflict Modern Warfare will be a whopper show.
The only show. What's that? What was the event again that went viral that was there?
Oh,
Rookie Boys or something.
The something boys, yeah.
Was it not Rude Boys? This show is going to be better than that. What are they called? The Party Boys?
The Pleasure Boys.
Pleasure Boys. The only show better than the Pleasure Boys is Cage Conflict in the Devonish.
You better believe it, Butch. You better believe it.
God, man. Oh,
but
even pretending I didn't know that. Like,
is that the news for the week?
Ross, man, it is. Now, just letting you know, next weekend we'll be covering all this again. Like all the news that we're just discussing.
Yeah, we'll discuss the results from those shows.
The results, yeah, exactly.
And we'll bring in another special guest.
We will bring a very special guest.
Don't we bring a special guest every week?
It actually is. Like, it actually is a special guest every week. Ross, really enjoyed this conversation today. It was great to have Thomas on. It feels like the year is sort of kicking off now in some sort of way. Like the bigger fights are getting announced, more events, more Irish people fighting. Like Cage Wars is back. It's getting exciting, man.
Yeah, it is. It's getting very, very exciting. I feel like February, March is actually only really the kickoff of the Irish MMA calendar year, and I think January is always like notoriously quiet. So we're about to kick into full swing. All the shows are coming. You'll have the likes of Virtus, Akuma. I think you're announced another show in May.
Gladiators.
Yeah, Gladiator. I think that's another big show coming up from Danny Core and the boys there. We're going to have shows, from the top to the bottom of the country. We'll probably also see the likes of Cage Legacy come back, Premier, Elite Fighting Championship, Chaos. We'll see them all.
Pleasure Boys.
Baz getting hooked on the Pleasure Boys. But guys, if you wouldn't mind doing us a quick favor, just go down and hit that little subscribe button. It would do us a massive favor. If you are watching or listening to us on Spotify, give us an L follow. We'd really, really appreciate that. Give the video a like, leave a comment. Probably doesn't take much time for you guys, but probably will do wonders for us in the algorithm. So if you wouldn't mind, we'd really appreciate that. And as always, stay energized.
The Energized Show, up the Irish. It's the face that runs the place, Chaos Curtis. I want to thank the Irish MMA community so much for getting behind me. Yup, the Chaos Cartel.